Looking at from our forecast models this time yesterday, we are currently dealing with some light rain though still. For those kids a little bit later on, a lot of fog, some light rain at the moment. If you're about to hit the roadways, that's what we're going to be dealing with at least momentarily. Notice our visibility has really dropped in spots to under a mile for areas like Austin, up and down the I-35 corridor out towards the airport. Visibility at only now a half mile. So that's one of the things we're going to be watching for as we head into the remainder this morning, as we have quite a bit of humidity coming in from the south. It's all being wrapped around this broad area of low pressure we've been tracking throughout the week. It's been creating for a mess of weather out across the Texas Panhandle. Some strong storms extending down towards San Angelo, where they've already had a tornado warning issued so far this morning. And we'll start to see that line approach our area as we head into the remainder of this morning. A lot of humidity to work with. I will say the kind of a light mist that we have at the moment, it might actually help us out as far as our severe weather threat goes. It tends to stabilize the atmosphere. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But look at all the moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico that's leading to a start that looks like this. As we take a look out across our K-View rooftop, you notice can't see much. Kalahari Resort, you can also see some wet pavement there. So take the road slowly, as we will be looking at limited visibility along with some damp pavement from some of the rain that we had yesterday and still had through the overnight time frame. As far as our timing for showers and storms goes, we're going to keep things, I think, relatively calm with just these light areas of drizzle through around 6 a.m. After that, as we get closer to about the 7 o'clock hour, we'll likely start to see a stronger line of storms work its way into the area. This is going to start in our western zones. It's going to start off in the hill country and work its way eastward over time. Here's 8:30. It's going to start to roll off the hill country, likely winding up across the I-35 corridor as we get closer to about 9 o'clock, 10 a.m. And notice the colors here, the reds, the oranges, and even the pinks indicating some very heavy rain. Certainly could be looking at some large hail within this line, gusty to damaging winds, and we can't quite rule out an isolated tornado for today either. That line eventually shifts off towards the coastal plains, getting closer to around late morning, early afternoon. And then we'll likely start to see our first batch of storms move on out. Now, the thing is, and this is kind of the wild card in the scenario today, that moves out. How much sunshine do we get? Eventually? That could help determine what could lead to an additional round of some showers and storms developing for this afternoon that could have the capability again of producing some stronger storms. Severe weather risk has increased today for our northeastern areas, those areas in orange, showcasing that level 3 enhanced out of 5 risk for severe weather. That's where we also find our better potential of seeing some tornadoes. The hatched area, though, that indicates a better chance of seeing some very strong tornadoes with EF2 to EF5 ratings. So this is one of the things we'll be watching out for today. We will have some spin in the atmosphere thanks to that low pressure system that's just off to the west of us. Hail, nearly all of us in that hatched, 15% chance for some large hail. Again, the hatched area meaning a higher likelihood of seeing hail with 2 inches in diameter or greater. And one of the things we're also going to be watching for, all modes of severe weather possible here, is the potential to see some flooding. We actually have a level 2 out of 4 risk to see some localized flooding across the area with some very heavy downpours. So that's something that we'll have to watch out for along with our severe weather threat. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the I-35 corridor in the hill country through 10 a.m. Showers and storms today, drying as we head into this afternoon, high near 85 degrees. Heading into tonight, some areas of fog, patchy drizzle. Yet again, as we kick off the day for tomorrow, is still going to be featuring additional rounds of showers and storms, but after that, we're going to kick off a drying trend. Drier as we head into Thursday, Friday.
Work and school, so keep it here on KVU all morning as some of these storms move in. And still to come, there's still 5 months left until the Austin City Limits Music Festival. But this, as we find out the lineup, and tickets go on sale later today. We sometimes see some of our harder conditions out there with that low visibility. It's slick. I noticed some minor ponding out there, even a couple of flooded roadways out in the Round Rock area. Our major highways, though, looking pretty good, but please just ease into the commute. Please allow that extra time. Use those low beam lights and be really careful getting those kids out the door this morning as well. Taking a live look at our conditions, though, looking pretty good as far as crashes go. Typical slowdowns in Westlake Hills and Manor. Coming in from South Austin, though, looking all clear on I-35 so far, but really just going to need to take things 1 hour at a time today. But like I said, on these foggy mornings, it just always makes me a little nervous because I know this is on the mornings when when we really tend to
winding up across the I-35 corridor, likely I would say between about 9-10 o'clock. At that point in time, we could have some pretty strong, juicy thunderstorms, the potential for some very heavy rain, some large hail, gusty to damaging winds. Can't quite rule out an isolated tornado with this line that'll be working its way off to the east, and eventually it pushes out towards the coastal plains as we get closer to around the mid-late morning time frame. Now, this first batch will move out. The wild card is, will we see enough sunshine after this exits to promote another round of thunderstorms by this afternoon that again will have the capability of producing some severe weather? That's going to be a possibility as we head into later on today, though I will say our computer models haven't been overly excited about it. As far as the severe weather threat goes, we have seen it increase to a level 3 out of 5 risk for our northeastern areas. That includes eastern Travis County, eastern Williamson County, all the way up towards Milam County, Lee County. That's where we'll have the better potential of some stronger storms, along with the possibility of seeing isolated tornadoes. It's that particular area that's also included in this 10% hatch risk to see some tornadoes. Hatched area meaning we have a higher likelihood of seeing some stronger tornadoes with the rate rating between EF2 to EF5. Hail, pretty much a possibility for all of us, nearly all of us under that hatched area for some larger hail across area. And then also another threat that we'll be watching out for, along with the potential to see some gusty to damaging winds, will be some very heavy rain. Flooding is certainly not out of the question for today with some of those heavy downpours. We have a level 2 out of 4 risk across most of our area to see some of that. So really all modes of severe weather possible. Here's our severe thunderstorm watch. This would be for the first line moving on through until 10 a.m. It includes the hill country out across also the I-35 corridor, including Austin up towards Williamson County and down towards Hayes County. Again, main threats, large hail, strong winds. Can't quite rule out an isolated tornado. Strong storms to start. I do expect drying by the afternoon and then eventually some improvements by this evening, certainly. Highs today back into middle 80s as we head into tonight. Some areas of fog yet again, likely as we kick off the day for your Wednesday, and some drizzle. Tomorrow still featuring some showers and thunderstorms across the area. We could see a few stronger storms, at least for our southern zones, but that severe weather threat is going to start to come down. By Thursday and Friday, we're actually heading into a much drier weather.
And of course, the rest of us, we just got to get you into work and school. Those roads are slick from those downpours yesterday, especially throughout central Austin if you're heading into the metro today. So please be careful. This is one of those mornings where things can change very quickly. Very quiet, though, right now as you are heading out. We've got some ponding, though, on some of our roads. And as far as crashes go, look at this. I mean, we have a very nice map. Let's try to keep up the good work out there as we're all just kind of easing into it and being mindful of our spacing as well as we're heading out. Taking a look, seeing some minor slowdowns just north of Blanco there on 281 if you're heading out towards Burnett. But pretty quiet today, moving through Dripping Springs. And a lot of that construction is quieted down, of course. They can't be out there in the pouring rain. And so all that is kind of quieted up this morning. If you're heading out to Bastrop, no active crashes there as of right now either. Let's take a look at our speeds. Minor slowdowns at Westlake Hills, pretty typical this time of the morning. But of course, it's dark and it's wet out there, so just be really careful. And of course, I'll let you know if anything changes on my end. Brian? Messaging there with the fog. Take a look. This is out at the Arboretum. Already getting some reports of down traffic lights as well. And you could kind of see some of those flashing lights even where Malia was. So just treat that as a four-way stop. We got some downpours, as I'm sure a lot of you noticed yesterday afternoon, and still feeling those rounds today. So the roads are slick and it kind of, you know, that buildup of all that oil out there. We haven't had a good rain in a while. So taking a look as far as crashes go, though, we are in great shape. So if you want to slip out before some of this mess moves into the Austin Metro, might as well. On 183, looking great. Good morning, Leander. Heading towards Lakeline Mall, all clear there. Round Rock, Georgetown, no active crashes. You got a straight shot on I-35, and it's pretty darn quiet out there as far as travel, just in general. Not a ton of people on the roads just yet. Coming in from Kyle, San Marcos, Buda, looking good there. Good morning to you, Lockhart.
6:30. So, and these eventually will be kind of growing in coverage and progressing from west to east. So things kicking off in about, I would expect, an hour or so across at least our western zones as we continue to track this low pressure system. It's been bringing some very strong storms out across areas like San Angelo. We've got a warm front to the south of us that eventually will help spark some stronger storms across our area yet again today. We haven't tracked much so far this morning. For the most part, it's just been some light drizzle, some fog across the area. But notice what we have just off to the south and west of us. The storm cell that's now certainly is increasing in lightning. We've been tracking this moving off to the northeast at around 40-45 miles per hour. It's a fast moving storm. There's Gillespie County. I would expect this to move into that area around 6:15. So again, we're talking about in less than an hour now, some stronger storms start to approach. I threw in the hail tracker here. Not much hail being tracked in this storm, just a little blip of some gray, so maybe some small hail. But what we're certainly seeing out of that is some heavy rain, frequent lightning, and I'm tracking the potential of what could be rotating storms as we head into the remainder of today. So that's one of the things we'll be looking out for with a potential to see some isolated tornadoes as those storms continue to work their way into our area. As far as our flood risk goes, we have a level 2 out of 4 risk to see some flooding across the area. So that's an additional kind of threat that we'll see with these storms today. Rainfall totals, what we're expecting as we take you through the remainder of today. I would say on average, anywhere from a half an inch to even some areas picking up to around 3 inches of rain in some spots. Rain, gusty to damaging winds, hail, and again, some of these could be rotating, so can't quite rule out an isolated tornado. That will continue to track off towards the north and east into portions of the coastal plains by around 11 a.m. and the noon hour before I think the bulk of this will start to move out later today. Now, we still have a wild card scenario when it comes to how much sunshine we see by this afternoon. That could help trigger what could be a few more showers and storms later today, and they could still have that severe weather potential. This particular model shows most of it coming to an end after around 1-2 o'clock and leaving us drier. But I will say it's still on the table to have maybe another round of some thunderstorms pop back up by this afternoon. It's just going to depend on how this morning evolves. Our severe weather threat, it has increased to that level 3 out of 5 risk for our northeastern zones. That's where we have the higher risk of seeing some isolated tornadoes. So areas like Milam County up towards areas like northeastern Travis County, eastern Williamson County, out towards Lee County, North Bastrop County. That's where we'll have the better potential of seeing some isolated tornadoes. Really, all of us have a chance of seeing some pretty decent sized hail as we head into today. We could see hail of 2 inches in diameter or greater. Also, the flood risk continues, some heavy downpours, and with that, we also have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the hill country in the I-35 corridor through 10 a.m. this morning, with that first kind of main line rolling its way through. Temperatures today back into middle 80s. Tomorrow morning, waking up to likely what will be another kind of foggy start with some patchy.
Once again, if you're just waking up or you're new to the area, it can be a little tough out there when things get so, I mean, we already have just very dark roads across Texas, but here's a look at Pflugerville where we're talking about very low visibility moving through. The good news is, though, as far as crashes go, it's been pretty quiet so far. I think maybe the forecast scared everyone home today, but it's really looking good right now moving through Pflugerville or Wells Branch or heading out to Round Rock, all clear on this stretch of I-35. Let's take a look around town. If you are coming in from Leander on 183, minor slowdowns approaching Lakeline Mall. Not too bad out there. And of course, all this construction has quieted down as these rounds of rain have been moving in. Even Onion Creek, I mean, minor slowdowns in the northbound lanes. I am hearing of some reports of down traffic lights, but we can certainly work with that in comparison to any full closures or crazy crashes across the area. San Marcos, Kyle, still looking good. Lockhart. So keep up the good work, guys. We are looking really good. If you're heading out to the hill country, of course, Malia has been giving us those live looks. So we'll check in with her a little bit later to get those eyes and ears out on the ground this morning.